Hi everyone, this is Darren from SimNation, just doing the continuation of the Pittsburgh Steelers in the year 2054. And really, these videos are meant to talk you through how I game plan. I'll continue to do them when I'm playing CPUs. I'm probably not going to do them when I play uh, human coaches just because it doesn't make sense, and I don't want to have people key off human coaches. Now the reality is I may like do my game planning for Oakland because Peter's someone who mixes it up quite often, and he's going to key off what he sees me doing. Let's start. So Pittsburgh is one of two undefeated teams right now. The other one is Tennessee. So really good job, there, Alabama. Um, we're doing good with defense. We're doing okay with passing. Our run game is just not working. Part of that has to do with Lackey got nerfed in the offseason with age because we do have age digression set pretty high. So he's 29, and of course he's starting to regress. So I think um, we have Jacksonville up next. We kind of throttled the Bengals. The Bengals were easy to game plan because all pass, and I was able to key in on that. So once again, I'm not gonna. I've already looked at the Jaguars games over the last few, and we'll go and click on them just so this makes sense. So if you look at the last three games of Jacksonville Jaguars have played, they beat Chicago, so they scored 42. They scored 37 here. They scored 41 here. So they are scoring a lot of points. Um, and they have a quarterback who is decent, and they have some decent wide receivers. Um, so the team is doing well. The caveat with Jacksonville used to be a human control team. So when you approach human control teams, you need to keep that in the back of your mind because they may be running formations that are still from the previous owner. Baltimore's probably a good example of that because Baltimore's shredding people right now. The only loss is, of course, to Pittsburgh. But you just have to keep that in the back of your mind because formal human coach teams will play out differently than those teams that have been CPU for a while. So as I said, is they have an offense that can score. They don't really have a defense because, as you can see, they have been getting lit up. So I'll play that into my mind. I have teased out what I believe is the roster, and this is going to be one of the few games where you're going to see me say something like, "I really am not concerned about Jacksonville." That confidence could cause me to lose, but I haven't really seen anything that stands out to me that makes me worry. Pittsburgh lines up on defense better than Jacksonville. They line up on offense better than Jacksonville. So this is a game I should win, just as long as I don't do anything really stupid. I do have to fix my run game, though. That's going to be an issue here. So, generally speaking, what I've teased out is, of course, McCulloch is the starting quarterback. Jansen is the running back. The irony is Jansen is from LSU. I coached LSU during the time that he was there, and he's a really good running back who's got, as you can see, he's got speed. He's going to try to get him outside from what I saw. The offensive line, from what I can tell, is Birchfield is the left tackle, Isabel is the right tackle. Um, I think if I remember correctly, Bryson is the left guard, Parsons is the right guard, and the center right now is normally Say, but Warren is playing because Say's hurt. So the key here is if you look at this, I'm not really worried about this offensive line. My defensive line stacks up really good against them. My linebacking core will be able to get penetration relatively easily. I just got to call the right blitz plays. Um, the only person on this line that I actually have a little bit of a concern around is Bryson. Because as you can see, Bryson's got some decent strength. He's agile. He's not smart, but he's got good speed and he can pass block. So I'll need to keep that in mind. And again, keep in mind Bryson's on the left side of the line, which would be the right side of my defensive line. Wide receivers don't really have a concern here. Pittsburgh more than adequately matches up against his wide receivers, even Lewis Young. As far as I can tell, Young is wide receiver 1, Bond is wide receiver 2, and then after that, it really doesn't matter who's who. Um, the defense, I'm not really worried about either. I will have one concern, which will be on the line, which is going to be, where is he? Minton. I'm going to avoid Minton, uh, mostly because he's just flat out a stud. 82 agility, 94 strength, 73 speed. This guy is going to hit like a rock. And he's fast to boot. So I am going to have to make sure that I have the right lineman on his side because I'm going to have to try to negate him a little bit. As far as I can tell, he's on the right side, which means the left side, so he's going to be going up against my left tackle. Outside of that, the only other person out there that kind of gives me a little bit of concern, I think, is Sharp, who's, as far as I can tell, CB1. He's got good speed, good agility. I'm going to avoid CB. I'm going to avoid throwing to my wide receiver 1, so that's going to alter how I play. As far as what I can tell about how they play, they pass a lot on first down. So from what I've seen, it's 1st and 10, 1st and medium, 1st and long. They tend to balance or run the ball on 1st and short. And if you're wondering how I know this, again, this goes back to looking at games, right? So if I go back here, I aggregated these games. So I just simply copied and paste, put it in Excel, and then looked at it. But you can also look at it this way and see, like, mostly if you look at this, it's somewhat balanced. This is not as balanced, and then it gets less balanced as you go. They look to be a medium passing team, which makes sense given McCulloch. McCulloch does not have a strong arm, but he is a good quarterback. So back to it is, as far as I can tell, on 2nd down, it's a lot of balance. If I have a balanced playbook, I would play balanced on all downs across 2nd down because there's a good chance they're going to pass. There's a good chance they're going to run it. I think when I aggregated it across all the games, they were actually passing more than running. And then on 3rd down, 4th down, on the short yardage, they're going run. On the medium to long, they're going pass. In the red zone, they seem to want to run the ball, but I need to be careful about the pass, so I'm probably going to go balance. As far as I can tell on defense, though, they key off a lot of the balanced offense, which could be a problem for me because I do run a balanced offense in Pittsburgh. Um, like I said before, I think I'm going to have some opportunity to run to the right side. I'm going to have to stagger my offensive line a little differently. I didn't run the ball well against the Bengals at all. And in fact, I'll show you that. In fact, it was embarrassing how bad I ran against the Bengals. Part of this is I'm still trying to treat Lackey like he was last season, where he was a speed back. He could do a lot of things to the outside, and it's just not working. So I'm probably going to move from outside running to balanced running because I want to potentially put him between the tackles a little bit more. I may start using misdirections and slams as well because those work well for between the tackles in addition to off tackles. But I'm probably not going to run a lot of sweeps and pitches anymore because he just can't do it. Um, so as we look at Pittsburgh, just real quick, is I have no major injuries, which is good. I'm also coming off a bye week, which helps. Um, when I look at the depth chart, this just going to go through this quickly. I'm not going to make huge amounts of changes here because I don't think I need to. Now, I am going to put Gabriel Wright here because I'm not going to target that position as much. I could leave Dildo. He actually could outpace people, and I'll probably do that. And then I'm just going to keep the wide receiver core like it is. Now, the key problem is I do have a rushing problem. And part of this has to do with I don't really have a lot of strength on this defensive line. So what I'm going to do is Crook, while being good, is not giving me what I want. So I'm going to bring in Romero. He's decent against the pass. He's decent with pass, but he's better with the run. Plus he has strength. Now I could leave Crook in though, because again Crook is good with the run. Actually, but what I've noticed is I'm not really getting the push that I need to have. The other thing is I'll probably put Crook over Hill. Uh, Poland, again, is good for running. Both of these are really good run blockers, but the problem I'm having is they're going up against people with strength, and they're just not winning those battles, which is why Lackey's not running as well, in addition to the fact that I'm trying to run him like he has 90 speed still, and he doesn't. So the other thing that I'm probably going to look at here is, as you can see, there's no strength here. I said that I want to avoid the left side. I'm going to largely avoid the left side in this game unless I go between the tackles. And so that means McClendon is going to be very important in this game. He's got strength. I've decided to start playing Timothy O'Neill a little bit more because, again, he has good measurement. But for this one, I'm probably going to bring Elliott Hall or Shipley up um, just because I want to get a little bit better pass protection. So put Elliott Hall there, or I could do Shipley. They'll both, we'll do Hall. And then we'll just simply have Timothy O'Neill back him up. I'm not changing Gillespie. He's actually not doing too horrible. Um, there is part of me that started to think that maybe I should let Seidel play a little bit more than I have. As you can see, he's got better measurement. It's just he's not as good of a run blocker. We're actually going to try this for this game. This game's one of those where I can tinker a little bit, and I'm going to. Um, Now, one of the things that someone asked me, and I'll just point it out, the best way to play offense, and you don't see me doing this because I'm lazy, is actually to have a package for run and a package for pass. The reason for that is what it allows you to do is put your best run blockers in for the run, which includes wide receivers. You can move your line around, and then for pass, put your best people in for pass. So if I was doing that, you'd notice my line would look a little bit different because I would have Gillespie in for the run, and then I would have Seidel in for the pass. I'm not doing that this season. I'm kind of experimenting to see what gain I get out of that. But defense wise, uh, I'm not sure I'm gonna change anything. Again, I'm not really worried. Now, I do need to factor in, like I said, Bryson, who's at left guard. So I need to make sure that um, my left defensive tackle is fairly strong. So the challenge I think I'm going to have is don't really have a great strong one other than Hubbard. So Hubbard will stay where he is. I don't see a need to change any of this because, again, my defense is dialed in. He does not have the speed to compete against my secondary, so I'm not going to make a change there. What I am probably going to change, though, is some of my strategy. So in this case, I made some slight changes to my playbooks during the bye week. Part of that was I introduced misdirection slams. I introduced slams. I moved more to an off tackle. I removed some of the pitches and the sprints that weren't working, and then I adjusted my pass plays. And I'll show you one of these playbooks in a second. I'm going to keep it to while I'm running on 1st and 10, 1st and short, but I don't see any reason to change this. It's been working. The challenge isn't really my play calling. It is more along the lines of one, trying to make Lackey do something he can't do, and then two, my offensive line is not as good as I want it to be, which may become a problem as I start to get into the heart of my schedule where I have to go up against people like Shark, Peedle, Invisible Witness, and others. I mentioned earlier that I felt like they were passing. One of the problems I'm running into a little bit is I'm not getting as much blitz penetration as I want. And I'm going to have to figure that out. Part of it is I'm playing a lot of pass defense while I'm also not blitzing as much as I want to. So we're going to change this and go to pit D run because I think they're going to run on this down. We're also going to change this and go to pit D run because, again, I think they're going to run. I could change this to pit D run if I wanted to, but again, on defense, I don't tend to change up what I'm doing, just like on offense. Game planning, they are definitely a balanced team. So I'm going to switch this. Just go there. There'll probably people cringing at how I do this, but don't really care. And I think the targets is again balanced. So I'm going to keep these things like this. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one. This is not defense, this is offense. I'm going to keep my stuff the way it is. Go long. Go outside. Timothy Dill, not going to do that. That's not going to end well. We'll go Alice. Keep all this the same. If you notice, I changed from outside to balanced. Again, I'm trying to get them to go inside a little bit more. That should help. All that's fine. Now on defense, I'll keep up the aggression, go balanced. I'll keep it mixed. I don't see a reason to change that. I could set it to none, but yeah, it's just a not set. No reason to change any of this. This is fine. I do believe that he's medium passing more, so I'm gonna flick that. And then if we go hill, what I said is I'll show you Blitzo. So as you can see, during a normal week, if I'm making changes, what I would look at is this is a pretty good distribution for me, and I'm okay with that. Pro set Raggles, I'm going to get rid of because it's 1 -6, which probably means I got sacked. This one is 2 -5.5, probably means I got sacked again. This one is a balanced play, but it's underperforming, so I'll get rid of that. It's only one instance, so I'll let that one stay in for now. Looking at these, going down. As you notice, as I said, I'm going to keep some of the sweeps in only because I do need to keep things going. I am going to probably not this week go, well, it's just more in between, so we'll be fine. I'll keep this one in only because I need to have some shotgun plays where I actually run the ball, so I try to do that. And then you notice I'm doing slams and misdirections as well. So that's one part. I do use 2 playbooks, so just keep that in mind. As you see here, as I have wide open and blitzo. I have a couple other playbooks which, when I start playing human opponents, I'll switch to. Mostly because I need to figure out a way to throw Peter off a little bit. But that's largely how I'm going to game plan is I believe this team is balanced, so I'm a balance. I don't see any matchup problems for me. Actually, I forgot to do one thing. I believe they play man more. So in general, the defense is not one I'm really worried about. I do think that, and again, if they try to run the ball, my defense is generally doing well. My offense is definitely underperforming, and I have to fix some of that. Part of that has to do with my line. Uh, One thing is I haven't invested in the line like I normally do, mostly because some of these people have sentimental value to me, and thus I'm trying to get them to their retirement. But this is not one of those games I'm worried about. The next game I am actually worried about because it's against Bama and he's undefeated. Houston, not really worried about. I always worry about Cleveland with Bio, but then I get Cincinnati, who generally, unless Chris comes back, I'm not worried about Cincinnati. Uh, but then you see starting in week 11, 12, 13, 14, that's a brutal schedule because that's Peter, Shark, Kevin, and Invisible. So that's just going to hurt. And then Baltimore's just shredding everybody as a CPU team. So hopefully this will work. Hopefully this helps you a little bit with helping to understand how I game plan and maybe you can use it. But the one point I will say is if you're just starting in a league, the best thing that you can do sometimes is go into strategy, uh, go to formation, and then essentially what you want to do is you want to create certain formations under it's under depth chart. So under depth chart, what you can do, and I'm not I'll do it, is you can create a package, and let's just call this run. And then what you would do here is essentially just stack this to be, I'll let Nugent do this and then I'll just modify it. What I would do here is when I'm looking at this whole package, I'm choosing people who can run the ball. That's not going to happen. So, and what I would do is like look at my fullback, who's the best run blocker. That would be Rocco, so no change there. Look at my wide receivers. What I'm looking for is who are the best run blockers. And again, you can sort this. So it would be like Flores, it would be Deal, um, it would be Tolliver, which actually that's right, and then it would be Becerra, would be the next one, and then so on and so forth. And again, as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm making this package into essentially Phillips. I'm going to delete this, by the way. And what I would again look here is who's my best run blocker. So Brock Phillips, followed by Jeffrey Haynes. So in this case, I would switch this over to Jeffrey Haynes. And then when I go to the line, what I'm looking for is who's got strength and who's got run blocking. So in this case, it would be Poland would be on the side I'm running. So let's just say I'm running to the right. I would put Poland over there. And then the next best one would be likely I'll do Romero because the strength gives me a little bit more than the run blocking. Um, and then guard, same thing, just sorting Hill, and you would see Timothy O'Neill over on this side. You'd see Eric McClendon on that side, and then what I would do is probably have Gillespie and then Seidel. And then you would save this. Let's just save the package because I can delete it later. I don't think it took, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Let's just do this. We'll just rename this one. Run, rename. Okay, so and then I would go to strategy, and then what I would just do with this is go ahead and go to formations, and for anything that's run, I would just switch this over to run. So you see a lot of coaches do that. It is an effective strategy. I actually do this a lot in the college game with teams other than Maryland. Maryland again has very balanced players, so I don't have to do it. I try to draft the same for Pittsburgh, and you just go straight down the line and do that. And what it gives you is it gives you an advantage in those games because when you're running the ball, you have run blockers in, and it should help you run the ball a little bit better. I'm going to go back and I'm going to delete that because it's not something I want right now on Pittsburgh. So go to view package run, and we will just delete that. So go ahead and upload this. So that's how I'm game planning for this week. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully it doesn't seem all over the place. If you're interested in the league, we have a lot of good teams still. It's a great league. We are on Discord. So I'll drop the link in the below and hope this helps. And if you have any specific questions, let me know. Have a great night. Thanks.